Hey, welcome. So I wanted to create this short video to help you think about what a 3-year highly achievable goal is in the context of your business. So big challenge that most business owners have is they're pretty good at the 12-month stuff. Some of us have this idea of where we're going and what the sort of purpose of the business is and what our North Star is. And we have some idea of that, particularly when we start the business, that stuff's a lot clearer. But what happens is we lose sight of it and we land up in a situation where we're just going around the block. And the 3HAG or 3-year highly achievable goal is that bridge between where you are right now and your why that you're pursuing. So let's jump in, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the why first. I'm going to talk about how this idea of the 3HAG fits in, and then I'm going to make it as practical as I can. So let's get into it, right? First off, you start your business, you have this core purpose that you're pursuing. So for me, the core purpose is in my business is all about entrepreneurial freedom, right? The whole reason that my business exists is to help folks like you find freedom again. If you think about something like NASA, it was all about the space race back in the day. So who was going to win the space race? If you think about Disney, it's about creating happiness. Starbucks was about creating escape. So we have this core purpose, and we establish the business for it. We set the business up for it. And then the next thing is you have these missions that you go on. So again, using the example of NASA, or using the example of Disney, the first one was kind of around Mickey Mouse and animation, and it was bringing all those characters to life. The next 10 years is theme parks and creating Disney World and Disneyland. And then where we are right now is, I guess, Disney Plus, right? So you can see they stack their missions. Now, a lot of businesses get to a point where they are kind of at the end of a mission and they don't know where they're going next. And that's a whole other problem in itself, and there are other videos on that. But I first wanted you to just get a sense of the big picture. So we've got this core purpose that we're moving towards with this. And as I said, for me, it's entrepreneurial freedom. And then we've got the missions that we go on to get there. Good, got it. Okay, so the next step is, how do we get there? And this is where this idea of the 3-year highly achievable goal comes in. So basically, if you imagine yourself climbing on a mountain like Mount Everest, you've got the base camp over here. So you get to, let's just switch that around, and we get to kind of base camp. And the whole idea here is to acclimatize and then go from here to sort of base camp 2 or whatever it is, and then go from base camp 2 to base camp 3. And you may go up there and you kind of come down and you get used to acclimatizing, but it's this iterative process towards your goal of getting to the top, getting to your mission, to getting to the peak, right? To the top of the mountain. So you've got these stages, these kind of mini goals, these highly achievable goals along the way, which in the business world we're calling the 3-year highly achievable goal, or the 3HAG. And when you think of it in that context, so you have that big picture over here, which is your core values, your big, hairy, audacious goal, your North Star, your core purpose, where you're going. And then down here, you've got the stuff that most businesses are kind of good at. You know, we have our kind of quarterly thinking, our 90-day goals, what we're going to get done for this quarter, and we probably talk a lot about that. And then we've kind of got the goals for a year, and we know where we've got to get in the next 12 months. The challenge here, and the thing that happens, is we kind of land up just going around like the block, and we're not really intentional about growth and where we're going. So we just kind of keep going around, and every year you find that you're kind of hitting the 3 million, the 5 million, the 10 million, but you're not really growing, you're not really going to the next level. And the reason for that is that this section over here, right, we often look at this as kind of a 5-year goal, and where we're going to sort of be in the next 5 years towards that goal. And that's basically a super wild ass guess. I mean, so much changes in 5 years that it's really difficult to kind of think in terms of 5 years. So the 3-year highly achievable goal brings us down to a 3-year period, something that you can just kind of almost reach out and touch, and it's tangible. You can feel it. We're talking about 36 quarters. We're talking about 12 months. We're talking about 36 months and 12 quarters, and what the major milestones are during this period of time. But it gets even better than that. It gets even more powerful than that, right? So if you start thinking about this, this is where your 3-year highly achievable goal fits in, right over here. And it bridges the gap between where you are now and where you want to take the business, vision for your business. And that makes this line a hell of a lot easier, right? So kind of we're all looking for this. We're looking for the straight line to where we want to go. It might get a little bit messy, but basically we've got this line lined up. We have alignment from where we are right now this quarter to where we want to be 10, 20, 30 years down the line, to the North Star that we're pursuing. As I said at the beginning, for me, that is entrepreneurial freedom. So that North Star that I'm pursuing and everything that I'm doing is lining up with that. So taking this to kind of a one-page plan view, so hoping that it becomes even more tangible for you. Over here, you've got your 90-day priorities, and here you've got your 90-day company priorities, you've got your 1-year priorities, your 3-year priorities, and then that big, hairy, audacious goal. But everything is lining up. So we have alignment between what we're doing this quarter, what we're doing in this year, what we're doing in 3 years, and where we want to be down the line in that terms of that mission, that big, hairy, audacious goal. And I'm going to show you where the real kind of secret lies. And that's in pulling apart your 3-year highly achievable goal. This is where this path to strategic execution, and I want to use the word here that's really important, is confidence. So that you're building confidence here. You basically are saying, well, what are our priorities right now that are going to create the differentiators in our business? What's going to make us different than all the other competitors out there? So we're not competing on the same dimension, we're competing on our own dimension. And that's these key milestones and how your priorities line up. So you've got your priorities that you're working on over here. Let's just switch that to putting a priority in there. And that priority is taking you toward how you're going to differentiate your business. These are the things that you've got to focus on to differentiate the business. And you have these milestones along the way. And all of this stuff lines up. And it's in pulling apart and focusing on this 3-year highly achievable goal and the milestones along the way in that 3-year highly achievable goal that's really the secret sauce here. So if I take that to the next level, let's say you've got a core customer, and your core customer is Chad. And the key things for Chad in his life are that making money is easy for him, that he can sell easily, and he doesn't have to worry about support. Now, Chad comes from Paradata. Paradata was one of Shannon's businesses that was exited many years ago. So quite comfortable sharing this information with you. But basically, at the time, Paradata was looking for folks who were going to set up merchant accounts. And the key thing for Chad was, family and spending time with family, and he wanted to make money, and he wanted to be able to sell the services really easily, and he didn't want to have to deal with the support. So what Paradata did in looking at their 3-year highly achievable goal was became very clear on what their differentiators are. So for them, it was basically, we want to answer the phone service. Now, keep in mind, this is back in 2000s. We wanted to a white label reseller program. Wanted to set up in less than an hour. Again, keep in mind, this is back in 2000s. And wanted to support multiple currencies. So these were going to be the differentiators that they built in their business against their competitors. But they had to get there. It takes time to get there. And this is where the alignment comes in. So in quarter one, when you think about answering the phone service, the main thing for them was just to have a human answering the phone. Just get that set up. But by the time they got to Q4, they wanted to have an enterprise level phone system in place. And by the time they got to Q7, a multilingual team. And by the time they got to Q10, it's a global call center. So these are the key priorities that they're working on that tie up to the differentiator. And I hope that makes this clear for you, and I hope that this gives you some clarity on what this idea of a 3-year highly achievable goal is. It really ties down to how are you lining all this stuff up. So how are you thinking about what your core purpose is for your business, where you want to be in the next 10 years, that big, hairy, audacious goal, the mission that you're on, what you're doing over the next 3 years that is working toward differentiating you, digging a moat around your castle, so to speak, creating a competitive differentiation where you're competing on a different dimension to the rest of your competitors. And then what you need to be doing in this quarter and in this year, and that all of this stuff lines up. So I hope that helps, and I hope that makes it clearer. Now, if you want to know more about this, jump on one of my masterclasses. You can go to jeanmoncrief.com and you'll see when the next masterclass is coming up, and we go into this in a lot more detail. Thanks for listening.